Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin just officially confirms a new short-term warning signal, the exact opposite to this previous short-term bullish signal, just after we wiped out a major level of liquidity in the short term in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. But we now have a new level of liquidity building just above the price of Bitcoin that we need to pay attention to, despite this new warning signal now officially starting to confirm and play out on the short-term Bitcoin price charts, while Ethereum is getting squeezed between this support and this resistance on the price chart, while the price of XRP is continuing to hold above this very important area of support. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and currently the super trend indicator has not changed over the last one day. In fact, it's not changed in months. We're still in the red here, indicating a larger bearish market. And of course, on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a massive bearish divergence, technically still active, still playing out on the weekly time frame. And so obviously not a lot has changed over the last one day on the larger time frames. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day Bitcoin price chart in the somewhat shorter term here during the larger bearish trend, we're still just bouncing between this support and this resistance as expected. Of course, we have a lot of support down here at around 60,000, and also more support in this area based on these previous lows in between around 53,000 to 56,000. We have a lot of resistance, especially at close to 72,000, really just under 72,000, starting as strong resistance, but in between around 72,000 to 76,000, that's a massive area of resistance to watch out for. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 2-hour Bitcoin price chart, obviously ever since just around here a few days ago here on the channel when this bullish divergence confirmed on the 2-hour Bitcoin price chart, I said over the last couple of days it's very likely we're going to see a little bullish move, a slight bullish relief, maybe just over the next couple of days in the short term to move towards this area of resistance, and then expect a lot of struggle and possibly another rejection close to this level on the price chart. And that's exactly what we did. Of course, we did come a little short from that point of resistance. Rather than hitting 71,500, we hit around 71,000, so just a few $100s below the point of resistance is where obviously we started to struggle at. But another reason as to why we saw this slight little pullback over the last half a day or so is due to the fact that we've now officially confirmed and already started to play out a new bearish divergence, which now invalidates the previous bullish divergence here on the 2-hour Bitcoin price chart. And so once again, in case you're new to all of this, a bullish divergence is lower lows in the price in the candle closes and higher lows in the RSI. A bearish divergence is the exact opposite, lower highs in the RSI and higher highs in the price in the candle closes. So once again, this is now officially confirmed. It already confirmed back around here, and obviously since then it has already been playing out over the last half a day or so, and could potentially continue to play out maybe for the next one day. Remember, this is not a long-term signal, it's only a short-term signal. Of course, this last divergence only played out over a couple of days before it invalidated, and so obviously don't rely on this to play out over many weeks because we're only on the 2-hour time frame. But at least over the next few hours or day, that sort of time frame, yes, we're likely going to see a bit of weakness, maybe a slight little pullback or just some choppy sideways price action, kind of just lacking bullish momentum in the immediate short term here, most likely for the next one day or so. But obviously all of this is still playing out exactly as predicted over a week ago. Obviously, since around the local low just here, I said it's extremely likely this will be at least a local low, not necessarily the bottom forever, but at least a local low that will likely last for a couple of weeks, where we'll most likely see some choppy sideways price action or slight bullish relief, not necessarily seeing a massive bullish trend reversal out of the larger bearish trend, but basically the price action that we've seen over the last 1 week or so is exactly what I've been talking about every day for the last 1 week or so, since the moment we saw that $60,000 level being hit. And so right now, my prediction moving forward is the exact same prediction I've already been saying every day for over a week, which is most likely some more choppy sideways price action within this area on the price chart. So yes, we could see short-term bullish moves, short-term bearish moves, but for the most part, we're just bouncing between support and resistance, as we could see. And so obviously not financial advice, but if you're a very short-term trader, like a day trader or scalp trader, of course, you could trade these shorter-term moves down and up. But if you're you're more of a longer term trader or a swing trader. Of course, right now we're just in a bit of a sideways price range and we're still waiting and being patient for that next massive move. Obviously, we only just saw a massive move around a week ago, so we just have to be patient to see the next massive move. But once again, if you're a short-term trader, we can trade these shorter-term bearish and shorter-term bullish moves, especially thanks to this bullish divergence and bearish divergence, etc. And in case you're new to all of this, yes, even during this bearish price action, you can still profit in crypto using things like short positions, for example, to actually profit along the way towards the downside. Or if you're more of a spot trader, you can simply just hold some stable coins, for example, and wait for some lower prices to accumulate cheaper crypto at cheaper prices. So of course, there's always opportunities in the market if you know what you're doing. And if you want to actually trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any crypto, you need to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And if you use the first link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, that first link below this video will take you to this page right here over on the 2bit crypto exchange, which is an exchange that I personally use myself. And by the way, it's also a no KYC exchange. And if you use that link below the video, once again, I'll take you to this page where you can take advantage of up to 800,000 USD in prizes here just by simply trading crypto using that first link below the video to 2bit. So obviously, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out and take advantage of potentially some massive prizes here. Once again, first link below this video to this page right here. And remember, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But if you want another option out there, another exchange that I also use myself, where you could also take advantage of potentially some massive bonuses and prizes, then in that situation, check out the second link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment, because the second link below this video will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange, which by the way, you can also access Pinex without KYC depending on certain limits. But with that being said, just by depositing crypto, you can win up to 100,000 USD worth of gold. And so as you can see right here, just by depositing simply 100 USDT on your Pinex account using the second link below the video to Pinex, once again, you get one entry into this giveaway right here. If you deposit 1,000 USDT, you get 2 entries, so on and so forth. Up to these larger deposits, you get much more entries where, once again, you can potentially win up to $100,000 worth of gold just by simply making a deposit on the Pinex exchange using that second link below the video. So once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway or making deposits to exchanges, etc., you might as well check this out as well. Take advantage of this using that second link below the video. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, looking at the last 1 week worth of price action, and we can see that over the last day or so, just before, of course, we confirmed this new bearish divergence on the 2-hour Bitcoin price chart, we did just at these local highs right here, wipe out a bit of liquidity that was sitting at roughly 70.5 to 70.7K. But with that being said, even though over the last couple of days we've been wiping out upside liquidity, we still have more liquidity building above the price of Bitcoin here, sitting at roughly 71,500. Really an area starting at close to 71,000, but especially at that 71.5K level, we do actually have a lot of liquidity still building around there on the price chart, which does suggest that maybe after this bearish divergence first plays out a little longer here, maybe in a couple of days from now, for example, it's possible we could eventually see another move up towards that liquidity to wipe out that liquidity, possibly seeing another test of this resistance here. But remember, because it is still resistance, because we've not yet confirmed any breakout, still expect resistance at that level, which means expect struggle or possible rejections as a likely scenario from around this area on the price chart at around 71,500 to 72,000. But once again, that's talking about maybe in a couple of days from now, because just in the next half a day to 1 day, it is still quite likely we'll see a little bit of weakness in the shorter term while we're playing out this short-term bearish divergence just on the 2-hour time frame. So that's the current shorter-term situation. Those are my expectations and the key levels and signals to watch out for the price of Bitcoin. And once again, longer-term, bigger picture, not really changed all that much over the last 1 day. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, overall, the Bitcoin dominance is still basically just chopping around sideways in a bit of a sideways price range, as we can see. So in terms of the trend or the momentum, we're still looking relatively flat for the Bitcoin altcoin dominance, which basically means a lot of the altcoin market on average will likely be performing very similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing. So not a lot has changed here over the last one day. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, we can see that right now the price of ETH is still just bouncing around in this range exactly as predicted. Obviously, I continue to predict this sort of price action moving forward as a very likely scenario, at least over the next 1 to 2 weeks, because ultimately this sideways price action is helping at least a little bit to reset the RSI out of oversold here in the 3-day Ethereum RSI. Obviously, we hit oversold around a week ago with that flash crash, which means we're most likely going to see maybe a slight little bounce, most likely some choppy sideways price action, which once again has been exactly playing out as predicted and will likely continue moving forward for a little longer here. And as for support and resistance, we have a lot of support down here in between 1.5k to 1.6k, but before hitting that area, we also have a key level of support here sitting at pretty much exactly 1.8k. And as for resistance, obviously we still have a lot of resistance in this area sitting in between around 2150 to 2250. So especially as we get closer towards just above 2.1k, around 2150, once again, expect a lot of struggle and likely rejections from around that area on the price chart, which means right now the price of ETH is still just basically bouncing around somewhat sideways, getting kind of squeezed at the moment between support and resistance. So the shorter term price action, relatively neutral, sideways price range, but remember, this is technically still occurring within a much larger bearish trend. At least for now, as I've recorded in this video, we've not yet fully confirmed a massive reversal out of this larger bearish trend. So understand the difference between the different time frames. Right now, we're potentially in a similar situation to what we saw in around December 2025. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, right now the price of XRP is still holding above this crucial area of support that we need to pay attention to, sitting in between around $1.30 to $1.40. So continue to expect a lot of support around that area. But if the price of XRP confirms a break below $1.30 with especially a weekly candle close below that level, and especially if we fail to get back above that area, in that situation, it's likely we'll see a move down towards this previous 50% retracement level sitting at around $1.13, and below $1.13 in that situation, the next massive target or point of support would be sitting in between 90 cents to $1. But keep in mind, even though in the shorter term, we are holding and seeing a slight bounce from this crucial area of support here at $1.30 to $1.40, even though that's the case right now in the short term, of course, we still technically have a massive bearish divergence playing out, not yet invalidated here on the weekly time frame. So keep that in mind. Technically, this has not gone away, at least not yet. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day XRP RSI, the XRP price action right here, we can see that we're still playing out this oversold signal in the 3-day XRP RSI for the first time in basically since the middle of 2024. So quite a while, obviously. And as usual, an oversold signal means we're most likely going to see either a bit of a bounce or maybe some choppy sideways price action here and there as the most likely outcomes, just helping to reset the RSI out of oversold. And obviously, so far over the last 1 week, that's exactly what we've been playing out as predicted around a week ago. And as I'm saying right now, we'll likely continue this sort of price action at least over the next 1 week or so. Remember, this is not a super long-term signal, maybe just a signal for a matter of days or weeks. But if we're talking about multiple months, or let's just say half a year, for example, technically on that sort of time frame, we're still within a much larger bearish trend. So keep that in mind, understand the difference between the different time frames. At least as of right now, we've not yet fully confirmed any reversal signals to officially end this larger bearish trend. But just the short term, once again, we're still playing out this oversold signal, having a slight little relief during that bearish trend. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 3-day time frame, it's a somewhat similar situation for Solana as well. Obviously, we've not yet confirmed an end of the larger bearish trends, but we are bouncing and running into this major area of support here, which is exactly where we've seen multiple bounces from, sitting in between $75 to $80. But if the price were to actually break below 75 with confirmation, and especially if we fail to get back above that area, in that situation, we could quite possibly see a move down towards roughly $50 per Solana. Yes, that is right. That would be a major drop towards the downside, but that's only really if we actually confirm a break below 75 and fail to get back above that area. So once again, so far, so good. We are actually holding this area, at least for now, acting as support at $75 to $80. And of course, just in the shorter term, talking about maybe another week or so, we're also still playing out this oversold signal here in the 3-day Solana RSI, telling us we're likely going to see a bit more of a reset in the short term in the RSI, which means either some choppy sideways price action in the price or just a slight little bullish relief. But remember, if we see any more of a bullish relief here, soon we'll be approaching a major area of resistance where the price would likely begin to struggle at or possibly see a rejection from again. And that is sitting in between around $95 to $105. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the 3-day time frame, it's a very similar situation for Chainlink. Once again, we've not yet confirmed any end or reversal out of the much larger multi-month bearish trends, but just in the short term, yes, we are bouncing from this key point of support here and also playing out an oversold signal in the 3-day Chainlink RSI, just like basically the rest of the cryptos I've been talking about in this video. So obviously this support for the price of Chainlink is still sitting at roughly $7.90 to $8.50 as an area of support. And as for resistance, we're getting closer towards testing this key area of resistance here, sitting in between around $9.50 to $10. And if the price of Chainlink actually breaks below around $7.90, below this support, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, in that situation, we could possibly see a move all the way down towards around $5 to $5.50 as the next significant area of support towards the downside, if obviously we first actually confirm a break below around $7.90 to $8.50. But once again, as I've been saying over the last 1 week or so, it's unlikely we'll see a move like that just in the short term over the next 1 or 2 weeks or so, while we're still playing out this oversold signal. Once again, this oversold signal means we're most likely going to play out just in the short term for a period of days or possibly weeks, either a slight bullish relief, perhaps testing this point of resistance again and then struggling around that area, or maybe just a bit of choppy sideways price action. So basically just a bit of a break or a relief from all of the bearish price action, but not necessarily confirming a reversal out of the bearish trend. So kind of like what we saw around December 2025 is still my prediction moving forward, and so far over the last 1 week is obviously perfectly playing out here. And remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, get set up ready to go using those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to take advantage of extra bonuses only available using those links to certain exchanges. And of course, if you want to actually know how you can trade these moves no matter what direction the price is going, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.